Hello, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting. Call our meeting to order at 9:02 a.m. and ask Councilman Decora to say our morning prayer.
Thank you, Chairwoman. You guys for being here. One of the day. Let's say you bless our community here. So you bless our leadership here. So you take care of all those in need of it the most. Those are in hospitals, sick in the morning. That's that you look out for our children as they're beginning their school year and moving in and about our community. That's the one that you take care of our elders, from the youngest to the oldest, to take care of them. Yeah, I want to see take care of our firefighters, our EMS, the law enforcement, and all the work that's being done to try to further and better our safety here in our community. And we want to forgot anybody in the spirit this morning. Just take care of that for us. Escape you.
Thank you, Eugene. We have a few additions to the agenda. Under new business, we have a letter from Commander Rave regarding the Winnebago Veterans Association opportunities. Under old business, we have election board member approval. Under tribal council items, we have travel approval for the repatriation hearing. We have an executive session. Are there any further additions to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? We have a motion by Eugene. Do we have a second? Second by Rona. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. Thank you, Council. Starting with the minutes, we have the August 4th, 2025 regular tribal council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion? Motion by Rona. Do we have a second? Second by Eugene. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. August 6, 2025 Special Tribal Council Meeting, Winnebago Gaming Commission minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a motion by Eugene. Do we have a second? Second by Rona. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. Next, we have the August 12th, 2025 Physical Resources Report meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a motion by Kenny. Do we have a second? Second by Eugene. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. And lastly, we have the August 13, 2025 CEO report minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a motion by Kenny and a second by Coley. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. Thank you, Council. Moving into the ratifications, we have one on behalf of Wake and Burial. We have a ratification to approval to move forward the funeral arrangements for tribal member RCR. Just want to thank the tribal council for your leadership and stepping forward in circumstances that are not in the ordinary day of business, but necessary and appropriate. So thank you, council, for passing that motion on behalf of the relatives. Do we have a motion to ratify? Motion by Teresa. Do we have a second? Second by Rona. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. Moving into moving into new business, we have a letter here from Commander Rave. I'd like to invite Commander Rave to the meeting. On behalf of the Winnebago Veterans Association, we received a letter in the packet, and I want to invite Gordon up to just say a few things about the letter, and then I want to invite the council to kind of give some feedback on the suggestions on improvements to the power grounds.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I just talked to Victoria last week on this, just gave her the letter of what we're doing, just to let you guys know a little about what the veterans are up to. You guys are well aware of that we're getting money to improve a little bit from the Ho Chunk Way. We're ordering flagpoles for the main cemetery, and those will cover the services, all branches of services. They'll be smaller than the American flag pole out there, but it just covers like the Army, Navy, all the branches of service. So whenever a veteran passes away, we can put the flags up there so that their branch of service would be flown and stuff. And then we're gonna put another one right at the power grounds, another flagpole, because we only have one flagpole at the power grounds. That's right at the main entrance. So we're gonna use that one for the tribal flag, because we didn't have a tribal flag out there flown. So at the main entrance, we'll have a tribal flag flown all the times. That's part of that money that we'll get in. We're trying to fix a few things up. Also, we're trying to get your guys' approval to take down stand number 8. And with that, get the approval, take it down, where we're going to put up a memorial for the Company A Scouts. And we're trying to come up with an idea of what kind of memorial to put there. And talking to the veterans and stuff, we don't really have real good ideas, maybe because we can't draw. I don't know. We're coming up with like little roadblocks. We got some good ideas, and then we don't have any good ideas. But I just thought you guys might come up with an idea. All right. I mean, as long as we can get a nice memorial thing out in that little area, we need help to figure out what to do. And
Lorelei, do you want to comment?
Gordon, at our physical resource meeting, we clarified by motion that the whole Veterans Park is under the physical resource department. So they're the ones you got to talk to about taking down stand A or stand 8.
Okay.
Talk with physical resources.
Okay.
And why don't you have a contest? Veterans sponsor a contest for Ho-Chunk Winnebago artists that would submit a depiction of what a memorial to Company A would look like, and put up some of your money to award the artist that you pick, the concept.
And we talked about that. We talked about it, and then it just kind of stayed there. Nobody even tried to make a second on a motion or make a motion. Everybody just kind of looked at each other and kind of, okay, well, it died right there in a meeting. So, I mean, we can bring it up again, and maybe we can push it a little harder, and we can try to get, because I know there's a lot of artists out there. We have a lot of artists, and somebody can come up with something, even draw something better than we can, but we just need a little help on figuring out what we want to do. So we'll bring that up again. And
If you guys decide to do that, we got admin can help. It can go on our website. The veterans are sponsoring a contest. All Winnebago artists encouraged to submit their concept to honor our Company A Scouts. I mean, we can help, and then we'll see what comes in. But man, our young people our artists are very creative. They just astound me on how they come up with these concepts of. So we got the talent out there. Let's use that.
yeah.
Thanks, Lorelei. Eugene?
Just, no, I think it's a good thing. And like she had mentioned, reaching out with physical resources about stand 8, because when my head goes into like, your water lines and the sewage and trying to get all that out of the way, right? Having your clean outs for all that, for everything coming downhill right there. And then the other part about that is, I mean, you go around and you go to different powwows or go around to different reservations or even just those local towns around here, and you see most small towns have a veterans memorial of some kind.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of inspiration that can be drawn from things like that. I don't think you guys are gonna try to put a tank in there or anything, you know? You see in some towns, but even just, you know, a walking area, a little circle area with the plaques, you know, you can walk up and see names and, you know, go down that road, I guess, because you think about cost too. Like you would try to do bronze this and, you know, statue that. I mean, you're probably going to eat a big piece of your budget, but there's a way that you could do it with pillars or columns. And I do like her idea though, about just trying to open it up if the veterans are asking for help and then just say, hey, does anybody want to submit what this memorial could look like, I guess. Because then once you get an idea and a concept, then it comes down to a cost or what it costs to build it. So,
Yeah. Well, that money that we're getting from Ho Chunk Hope, that's gonna help make a bigger memorial, and we're trying to look at where we can put it. 'Cause I've been in a lot of places where it's right off the main road and a nice park area and stuff. We're just trying to find a area to say we can look at it, but what we're going to actually try to put in there. That's the hard part of what we're going to try to put in there. So with getting a hold of everybody in town, all our artists, maybe they can show us maybe 10 of them can say, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. And then we can say, okay, we can move it around and make something so that people, when they come through, they just don't see Winnebago as they're just coming through. They can see memorials of all our fallen soldiers and everything. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And I talk to all the veterans, and we want to have something so that people can come through and look at it and say that Natives been fighting wars forever, and all these ones, we're still honoring them. So that's my idea. But I'll talk to who's in charge of that.
Brian is the director, physical resources.
Well, okay, I'll go see him
Yeah.
and get his input.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody, for providing, oh,
Yeah, I guess I'd just like to see the,
Yeah.
should be leave room for the upcoming future.
Yeah.
That'd be my suggestion.
We talked about like a marble thing, but like all branches of service. Because if you put names on there, it's gonna be great big. But we could still put names on it. It's just that we won't take up a big area and stuff or something. That's the problem that we're coming up with. What we're gonna do with it.
because you're talking about just that footprint where stand 8 sits right now, right? So
Yeah.
once you guys figure out how to get it down and get it all leveled out, then you'll kind of know your footprint. I mean, it doesn't leave a huge space. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
And the one out to the power grounds won't take a whole lot. I mean, we just got a limited area and we can fix that up. Maybe put a couple of little benches or something so that people from out of town can come out there and look at it and see why we're celebrating our annual celebration, why we're doing it. So
I like the idea about inviting artists to, whether it be a contest or you guys, the veterans, select artists to provide you guys a rendering, and whether it be like a 3D concept like you guys are talking about, like a statue of some sort, or if it's a wall that has significant markings on it, that, or if there's pillars. Like, I heard a lot of good ideas on structures. But when you were talking about stand number 8, I've thought of like the flow, and as people come in, like they could, walk up to it, or that it would be kind of flow into the area, and however that the veterans see that happening. I guess like the idea what you said about the bench, so that it's somewhere where people could even sit there and take it in for a while. And so I know I mentioned the other day that we had a Winnebago artist and in fact a veteran do the sculpture garden, and I don't know if that's something that the veterans would be considering, something that looked more like Chief Little Priest. So just in support of what the veterans want to do, and also think that Henry Pear is a really good, I don't want to call him young man, but he's one of our, young artists that have been contributing to some of the murals and stuff around town. So there's probably a lot of names that we're not thinking of, but I want to just, I guess, what would be the best way to capture some of this? Is it, if the veterans want it to happen, but they need some like creative, like a brainstorming session, or is that something that we could get you guys like a facilitator?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to think how we kind of draw out your guys' good ideas and
Yeah, that's what instead of just having a vets trying to figure out something we're going to need, and like Lola said, put it out there so we can get good ideas of what we want.
and what is the budget for that project?
I have no clue at this moment.
Because I think that would be helpful if you identify how much of the funding you want to use for that, so you know that marbles out of the picture are
Yeah.
out of the question, and we're looking at concrete. I don't know. I'm not sure how much these things cost.
Yeah, I haven't checked into it. I was just going through, working down the line of what we needed, like the flagpoles and all that, and then get to this part, and then it's like, okay, no, we haven't met on what anything costs yet. I got the other veterans still looking at stuff, how much granite costs, how much marble costs, and metal and everything. That I got them guys looking at stuff, but we haven't came up with the cost yet of what it would be. So.
It's not cheap, put it that way. I know that I was looking up different plaques and things for out there in Light of Wellness when I was out there for the mile markers, this and that, but they're not cheap.
Yeah.
Nothing here, especially when you're trying to do a nice memorial like this, like it's going to be quite a penny, but you got to find out how much it costs too.
Yeah.
So we can move forward. So, but
Yeah, that's just the idea of trying to get something lined up. Cost-wise, we just got everybody looking at it. So,
Do you know the dimensions? I guess if you were to ask an artist or a contractor or vendor to look at that, do you have dimensions or an area that, the footprint maybe?
yeah.
That would be good to know. So just trying to find, I guess, a starting point on how we help get you to what you're trying to get to. But there's some, I think, baseline information we need to identify, like the dimensions that you're thinking that would be in. The veterans establish a budget that they want to work towards,
The concrete slab is 20 by 20, and then we could extend it because the concrete where that stand is, it's cracked, so we're gonna have to replace it or fix it up so we can look at it a little bit better.
see, that's that eight. So that's the working area.
I mean, four flags or all the flags and benches.
So you're walking in, that's that eight right there. That's the
Yeah.
Start out with.
Yeah.
in what ways could we support you, Gordon? What,
Well, it was just that I need ideas from everybody right now. Just we can get it going. It's just that we just needed ideas of what you guys think of to put something there, and we can do a contest. We can Just gotta go talk to Brian and see if the first thing is get rid of the stand, and then we could say, okay, we got this area, how big it is, and we're gonna work with this much area, and then we can get all the artists and everybody together and say, come up with an idea. And then we can work on the price of what they're gonna come up with. Some of them might not be real expensive and come up with a real nice idea, or somebody will come up with a good idea but be real costly. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there saying we need help with this.
The two concepts I guess I kind of hearing from the table, and I think is yeah, like these, like almost like how they have that that sports one across the way, you know, but I guess maybe more prominent and more like, are they like things like that, you know?
Yeah, like
shape?
a plaque you walk up
Or
to.
is it like some metal art, you know, thinking of the Veterans Memorial in Washington DC, that one's more like metal art, you know, talking about huge.
Yeah.
So just maybe if we printed out some examples and people could say, yeah, kind of like that, or nah, not like that, or that
Well,
might be an easy way to start, of just looking at other ones.
I do a little bitty one, but I'm not an artist.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it just is like feathers. That's what I was looking at, like metal feathers.
Yeah, that's a good
But you could
idea.
have Company A scouts in the middle with all their names, and then have one that has a Army, Navy, all the way around it. That was my little idea, but
That's a good idea.
it was something just trying to figure out some so I could say, okay, this is what my idea is. And I know your dad had an idea because he sees all these memorial things all over.
I'm literally looking at him on my phone because I always send him pictures of them when we go see him.
And then Harold and even Dusty, they tell me all these things that they see. So if I can get their ideas of what they want to put down, then we could have the artists with theirs, because they have more of a vision than us guys. We only see things that like in front of us. But
There you go. You just said it. Big old, one of our staffs, like an Eagle staff, big giant one, and on the feathers, there's all their names on it.
yeah,
Something like that. Different ideas.
well, just to start up trying to figure out what we want to do. So I guess the first thing we got to do is go see Brian and go from there, and just keep you guys up in the loop of what's going on. 'Cause you guys are the one people going to say, okay, the council said, how come you guys have this?
No, I think that the veterans applied for that and they have ideas, and I think that by providing our support, you know, we support what the veterans see that's going to recognize them, and we want to help, you know, make that happen for you. But I totally want to work at the direction of the Veterans Association. Eric's not here, but would also want him to weigh in on, maybe he has some ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep all the veterans aware of what's going on, and Dusty is aware of what we're trying to do. So
How many Vietnam veterans we got?
that's a good question, because we still got some tribal members that are Vietnam veterans but live off the res. I don't know those numbers. We have about 30. And that number is willing away.
Gordon, I have a question. Is Company A just a set group of military people, or does it include all men and women that went to military service?
It includes men and women.
It's no particular group?
Yeah.
Okay, I always wondered why sometimes Company A and sometimes just veterans.
Yeah, we got quite a few females that are active in helping with everything. They'll show up for a funeral if they have to, and carry flags and participate in what we're doing. We got quite a few of them that help us.
Because I remember years ago when I was young, one of the probably most respected women of the Winnebago tribe was Laurie, Genevieve Laurie. She was military. And I don't see her name showing up in too many places where we talk about veterans. There was other Teresa Smith and several others, but they were always mentioned, but I never heard of Genevieve Laurie's name.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you probably know who she was. Maybe you don't.
I know the name.
I do. She's my relative. I know.
You know who she is?
Yes.
She was kind of more decorated heroes of our women's military service.
She's the one that kept, like, for 30 years, the records of the Rave family line. And she passed away now, but she willed them to the Angel Decorum Museum. And they look like those old time ledgers that they used to use in county courts. Remember those green kind of, she has.
Green booklet.
Yeah, she has those. And she has all the raves coming from Blue Raven all the way down. And she has the whole, it was kind of an honor for her to want to know know who I am and who was I married to and who are my children as she was writing it down. She lived in Aberdeen in her late years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. Beautiful.
Last name's Johnson.
Okay, so Gordon, what should we do next? What would you like our next step to be? How can we participate in your next steps?
I just have to talk to Brian and then get back to you guys and say this is the start of it, and we'll come up with a money wise and then let you guys know what's going on. I just want to inform you guys of what we were doing.
Okay, well, thanks for including us and thank you for the update. We appreciate being included, but we always yield to the veterans.
Yeah.
Thank
Your
you.
request in the bond, and
Oh, Teresa just reminded me that basketball one that's over there, what was
Yeah.
it, 15,000?
Is that how much it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was
So-
looking
so
for a point of
something like, yeah, so something like that size is about 15,000. And that was what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
8 years ago?
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for sharing that point of reference. I was
yeah,
looking.
yeah, that's what I was kept looking up and then I was like, I'm trying to find costs to have a reference to go for.
There's a gentleman by the name of Ray Kale that did monuments. He was located in the Washington area by McCook Lake, but after the flood, I don't know if he still lives up there. That's a possibility. He used to live up there at St. Augustine's.
Yeah,
Ray Kale's.
I have to.
I can find his number, maybe that's somebody to reach out to that's
Yeah,
doing the stonework or something.
yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, well, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess before we
Okay.
go into our
Thank you, Commander.
wildlife and parks.
Here,
Thank you, Commander Ray.
There's a
calling us back to the meeting. We are on item under old business. We have Wildlife and Parks, Missouri River Backwater Access for Iowa State University. I'd like to invite Jewel Parker to the discussion and Daniel Gilman.
Good morning.
Hi, Jewel. Do you want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, so this is for a acoustic monitor thing down in the backwater of H Lake. Initially, he asked for another location, which was down by Hole in the Rock. And I informed him that that wasn't on our land, unfortunately. So I referred him to Justin. But mainly, this would help early detection of the invasive Asian carp. It would help us understand the distribution of the monitoring program. We would access the impact of the Asian carp on the native ecosystem. It would help us track the changes of native populations, the water quality. And then we can help them evaluate control measures. Then we can get a management plan, prevent spread of the Asian carp. And that's about all I kind of read into it. I kind of looked into it, and it's just a little receiver that they would come access by boat and then get their data from there.
Thanks for that. Hello, Daniel. Thanks
Hello,
for joining
Jamie.
us. Yep.
Yep.
Welcome. Welcome. This is the Winnebago Tribal Council. Happy to have you on the meeting. My name is Victoria Kitchian, and I'll just go that way so our council can introduce themselves.
And Teresa Little George, secretary. Donna Steeler, treasurer.
Kid Mallory.
Lorelei Decora, Mother Earth Protector.
Fully Brown, Councilman.
Good morning, Eugene Decora, Child Councilman.
Thanks, council. So Daniel, I'll turn it over to you to provide some comments on the project, and then we can ask some questions.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks everyone for introducing yourself and for having me here. So this would be part of a bigger study that's going on in the Missouri River. So Iowa State we're putting out receivers in 8 or 9 backwaters that we've identified along the Missouri River. So ourselves, Iowa, and a bunch of other states like Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, South Dakota, we tag a bunch of fish with these acoustic tags that let us track movement of the fish throughout the river. But most of these agencies have been doing stuff in the tributaries of the Missouri River. There's not much known about where the carp go in the main stem Missouri River. And so we started this backwater study hopefully as a way to identify where large congregations of silver carp are. I mean, I'm sure if you guys have been to that area, you know that there's a whole lot of carp in that backwater. So we're trying to figure out when they show up, when they leave, and where they go when they're not in there to try to figure out if there's a really unique opportunity to harvest a lot of carp out of that area or implement some management strategy that would help get rid of the silver carp and help the native species of the Missouri River. So that's a little bit of background on the project. I'm happy to answer any project questions and specific questions about what the receiver would look like, you know, how often we'd be there, anything like that. I'd be happy to take questions.
Thank you. My first question is, how did Iowa State University identify tribal land as one of the sites they wanted to, I guess, utilize?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we just looked at satellite imagery along pretty much the entirety of the Iowa border, what we could physically get to within a reasonable time amount. And we identified 8 or 9 areas. And then from there, we just kind of looked up who owns it, who would we have to get permission to get a receiver out there. And so, yeah, originally, like Jewel said, there was 2 that I thought fell under the Winnebago tribe land. One of those, indeed, is Omaha. So I worked with Justin McCauley on that and got access to that one. But yeah, we just looked at satellite imagery and then tried to figure out who owned what area.
Is there any funding attached to this if our program is participating, or is there any like harm reduction, or is there anything that we should be informed about on the outcome of this project?
Yeah, so our funding comes from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Some grants that funnel down through. Basically, there's a Missouri River invasive carp partnership that includes all the different states that are doing invasive carp work, as well as federal agencies like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So we apply for grants through that and apply them to specific projects. So the project description and the project goals, as far as I know, is just to better understand the movements, kind of population dynamics, where they're moving, when they're moving, without any specific like harvest action. It's not 100% this project, we're going to try to find in H Lake a time where we can go harvest, 1,000 pounds of carp. That's not a specific outcome. That could be something that happened if, that would be a totally different discussion of something like that. But there would be opportunity, I think, for this project to prove that there would be a good opportunity to get fish out in a really impactful and efficient way. That's kind of my hope for the project. But
I got, one more question, Lorelai. Have you guys approached the Iowa DNR to do some of this work on the Iowa side, or is it just on? So I guess thinking of partners and surrounding folks, I'm just wondering if the Iowa DNR is approved this on their side.
Yep. So we have two of the sites are on Iowa state land, and so we have permission to go out and do it there. We've gotten some permission from the city of Blair. There's a backwater down by that city in Nebraska. We have two sites that are on private land, and so some private homeowners have allowed us to put a receiver under their dock in the Missouri River backwater. And so, yeah, so we have full support from Iowa on our side in terms of any backwaters that fall on our side of the river.
Okay, thanks. I was just wanting to kind of gauge the participation in the surrounding area. Lorelai?
Daniel, I don't know if you're aware, but the Winnebago tribe, we just purchased a $500,000 barge so that we can clean out H Lake from all the silt that built up over the different flooding. So we're going to be going in there and cleaning out the silt in the H Lake. So I don't know about your carp and your receivers, but we got to get that done so that that water is there for our families to use for recreational and fishing. So, I don't know about your carp with receivers on them, but we just bought that piece of equipment, and probably this coming spring, we're going to be going in there to clean that out. And also, I'm a believer in the natural processes of Mother Earth and all the relatives that live on her. And I don't like man-made receivers put on fish in our lands. It seems it bothers me. When you already have enough sites along the Missouri where you can get this information, why do you want to be on our lands when you already have all this other support on the Iowa side? You got enough places to get your data. So I'm opposed to you doing this on our fish on our waters. I don't see any benefit for us. I just see, to me, harm to the natural fish life in their homelands here with our waterlands with us. I just don't agree with this on our lands. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Laura, for that feedback.
Thank you for that comment. I will say one super important thing, at least for our project, with you guys doing the like the dredging and getting sediment out, is that would impact the receiver itself would sit on the bottom and listen to the tags that are in the fish. So that would be something that we would not be able to have that receiver there while you were doing that work. So that's a super important comment in terms of the feasibility of this project. And then in terms of the other comments, I totally hear what you're saying and I understand it. Yeah, we're just trying to get coverage in as many places as we can to figure out what these fish are doing. I think there's a big distinction between the native species and the invasive species. There's a lot of opportunity for harvest of these invasive species and using them as a resource, but I'm a big believer in conservation and the non-native invasive species like silver carp outcompeting the native species. There's definitely some work there to be done in terms of helping out the native species like the buffalo, like the sucker, like some the native rough fish like the DNR classify, but that occupy the same niche as the carp. Hopefully that kind of addresses that comment. But yeah, the dredging would definitely be something we'd have to look at because that would totally impact what we were trying to do.
Eugene?
Are you guys putting a receiver in the Snyder Bend area on the Iowa side?
So we are not. We looked at that one. We're trying to do just isolated backwaters where there would be no free flowing water. So we looked at there's a lot of bends along the river, places that it connects above and below where it connects to the Missouri River, and we were just isolating. We're just going to choose backwaters at this time, but we did look at Snyder Bend.
Wait, I asked that question I wanted to ask you, and then and just everybody's understanding, like he's saying, and I know Coley can cut up a mean carp, and everybody kind of enjoys that. I know we all enjoyed our carp from down there at that's place in Omaha, but carp's not native to Missouri. It is a very invasive species, and it does affect the natural fish that are supposed to be in Missouri. I guess put it that way. So I don't think you're going to prevent them. I don't think you're going to get them out of there at this point. But I understand what you're trying to do. You're just trying to learn their habits. You're trying to learn why they're going into these backwaters and when and how, and maybe that can help deter them down the road here. But right now, this whole project that you're trying to do, it's just learning, right? You're not going to do anything else. You're not going to go in and try to, like you said, go harvest 1,000 pounds of carp or anything like that. You're not harvesting fish out of the water. You're just learning. That's all this is, and all it is receiver. But I'm glad you brought up that comment because that dredging, there's a schedule for that dredging. So I mean, depending on how soon are you trying to start this?
So we'd be looking to start, we have receivers out in other backwaters, like as soon as possible. We already have them out there, but with the Corps of Engineers lowering the water at Gavin's Point Dam, we know that a lot of the other backwaters dry up in the winter. So we were already planning and pulling other receivers in November, and then redeploying them in the spring. So this could be something that, we could, if you allowed us access to, we could do it for the rest of the year and reevaluate then, pull them in November, or get them back out in the spring after the dredging, something like that. We're pretty flexible with timeline, but yeah, I just wanted to highlight that we know that in the winter, I'm not sure what happens in H Lake, but we know that in other sites, the water level is too low, that we got to get those out so they don't freeze in.
And then how long is your project going to go for? Like how long would that receiver be in our backwater?
Yeah, so we have told some other sites like a 2-year time frame with a reevaluation after that. I'm a graduate student at Iowa State, so our timeline is usually 2.5 years to get in, start your field work for a project, write a project, and then publish some results. That's about a 2-year time frame. So we'd request an initial 2-year period for this.
Thank you. Rona?
Oh, yeah. I just had a comment. I support this learning theory that you have going on that would protect our native species to this area, to the Missouri River. Just studying the silver carp, they're not natural to these waters, so they may be changing, or maybe that's why we don't catch that many catfish down the river. I don't know. But I understand about studying and working towards eliminating invasive species, just like Wildlife and Parks has done that with, trees, obnoxious weeds, and different things that kind of deter or deteriorate our natural plants that we thrive on for our medicines. So, I do support what you're doing. You're just studying, you're just taking numbers, you're not actually coming in and changing anything. You're just observing is what I understand. So, I support this and, thank you for your time.
Thanks for the comment, Rona. In the packet, there's an indemnification agreement, and some of the questions that council had in terms of time frame and things like that are in here. Thank you, Teresa, for pointing that out. I would, I guess, ask the council that we refer this to our general council meeting tomorrow so that we can have this indemnification agreement reviewed by our general counsel, and if the council would like to approve that pending legal review, or if you'd like to have legal review first, then a discussion tomorrow. Just want to make some suggestions on next steps.
I'd agree with you on that. I think having council look over that would be perfect, or general council look over it would be a good thing to do. But then I also have a question for Jewel. With this study that's going to happen, how does it benefit our wildlife and parks?
Just more people would want to fish, like just working here and hanging out, or like going down there and fishing, or meeting with people. They don't like catching Asian carp all the time. There's just too much. And even when we take the boat out and we kind of go in circles out on H Lake, there's nothing but Asian carp jumping in our boat. And then, the people who do fish and stuff, they're like, yeah, there's just more and more. And they're kind of pushing out the native species. So I thought, just monitoring them and then getting a plan going to get them out. Or just like, people even do like a bounty on them. They fish them, fish them, fish them. But see, like some cities, they have a rule on how to dispose of them. You can't even leave them on the bank for the eagle to eat. And you can't throw them back in the river. So then what do we do with them? That's kind of what everybody's stumped on with that. So if you catch them all, where are you going to put them? We could fry them off, but. It's just something that I get comments from like fishermen.
I would be interested in hearing what the people of the Fish Clan think about this. We have a Fish Clan, and I'd like to know what they think about this.
Thank you, Lorelei, for that comment. There's a few, I think the first, and if we could get some, so I guess the first ask would be that if we could table this to our general council meeting tomorrow, and then we can coordinate with Ron Nor on that schedule of dredging, so Daniel can determine if this site is still ideal with our dredging project
Yeah.
underway. We're really excited about our, what's that thing called? That
It's a dredger, but I don't know what.
Well, the piece of machinery.
Yeah.
You're talking about?
the
Yeah.
excavator. So
Yeah.
we've got a new piece of
Yeah,
equipment that we're really anxious to utilize for the benefit of the tribal members, specifically recreation. And Coley was a big part of pushing for us to work on H Lake. So it doesn't sound like it's a no, Daniel. It sounds like we need to do some more discussion with our legal counsel, our scheduling for the dredging, and the last one was, and probably most importantly, our Fish Clan relatives. When can we circle back with you, Daniel?
Anytime. Jewel has my email, my contact information. If you have any follow-up questions, or, if you want me to come back and talk to you guys virtually, just, let me know via email. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for considering my request and allowing me the time to speak and meeting with me. And so I look forward to hearing back from you. We have, no timeline, no rush. Just let me know what you need from me.
Okay, just to give our team some time, the next physical resource meeting is on, let's see, is that on the PR? Should be on the 8th, right? But that's the regular meeting, so would it be on the next? I'm trying to figure out when would be the next time to give us a kind of a timeline to be visiting with you. Do you guys see when PR is?
12th.
The 12th?
Oh, that's this one, sorry.
So let us work on our internal schedule. I'm trying to find the most appropriate time in a somewhat timely manner to circle back with you. So we'll work with Jewel to get this approval or the discussion on these points of reference we need to look into. Jewel, did you want to make any other comments?
No, but Chad already looked at the indemnification.
No, okay.
Chad looked at it.
Just to mention that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll work with Chad on that then. Coley?
Yeah, I support this, yeah, 100%. And just wait for the legal review's already been done then, okay?
Yeah.
With Chad Smith. Daniel, do you have any tips on netting good carp, buffalo, and on the Missouri River?
Not a bunch. We use a boat electrofishing unit. We have a research permit, and that's how we collect our fish. So it temporarily stuns them. We net them, and then they recover in a tank, and we release them after that. After we get the tags inside them, but we don't do a lot of netting, other than using that sampling unit.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you have any research currently that you could share with us, the data that you've collected, or kind of give us an idea of what type of research you've already done and kind of what we'll be looking forward to if this does get approved?
Yeah. Do you mean like with this backwater study or other stuff
Yeah.
we've been doing?
This
in the
one
basin?
specifically, I guess, is what I'm asking, and maybe anything else that would be helpful to our Wildlife and Parks Department.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten out and downloaded the data from the other backwaters, but I can tell you exactly what it would look like. So we implant transmitters inside the fish, so that's what actually pings and gives off the unique code that tells us which fish it is, and then the receiver, all it does is it listens for that code and it writes down this fish was here at this time. So using that, we can run a bunch of analysis. And try to figure out like residency periods, how long they're staying there, when they showed up, how active they were when they were moving around the backwater. And so this is our first backwater study, but I've done one of my other projects will be on movement in the main stem Missouri River. And so that project is looking at, again, with these tagged fish and with these receivers that can mark which fish was where, we know where each fish was in the river, and we can start to do some analysis on what might define a population in the Missouri River. So the Mississippi side, the river is broken up by all the locks and dams, and it makes these really easy areas to segregate fish based on impassable barriers. But in the Missouri River, it's entirely free flowing. So we need to know where fish are, what the proportion of overlap is with their home ranges, and trying to do some of that to help states and federal agencies better manage populations to see if there are distinct isolated populations or whether they're all intermixing. So that's kind of some of the cool stuff you can do with telemetry, as we call it. But yeah, the backwater detection data will help show us what the numbers are, what the proportions are of our fish using each backwater, when and how long.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just have one comment. Being a Mother Earth protector, would any of you guys like to get stunned, knocked out, and then woken up and you have some kind of some kind of a system in your body that you had no say over? That's how I look at this. Fish are our relatives, and they have souls just like we do. So I'm looking at this a lot deeper than just some university always wanting to get information, but it's not going to benefit the Indians. So that's my final statement. Thank you.
Thanks, Lowlife, for sharing that, and council for the discussion. Can we get a motion to table this till we can,
Make a motion to table.
we have a motion by Eugene to table this. Would it be appropriate for the next PR meeting, or do you want it sooner?
We just need to meet with.
So at the next available meeting,
Yes.
okay. So we have a motion to table this until the next available meeting. Do we have a second?
Second,
Second by Rona. Discussion?
just a question. While you were out Lorelei, we talked about these silver carp. They're not native to this area, and they're killing the fish that we do need to survive. It's pushing out our native fish to these waters. So they're doing a study on them because they don't belong here. And they were tough. Jill just told us about how she's still trying to research on how to get them out of here. They're the silver carp that do not belong in these waters. They're not native to Missouri River. So we're trying to learn about them so we can put them back where they belong, or so they don't destroy our catfish and our walleye and the stuff that actually belong here. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. Any further discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0. Thank you, Daniel, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, Jewel, for your awareness on this issue, and we'll talk with Chad tomorrow. Thanks, Chad, for being on the line. I just want to finish our legal portion of the meeting tomorrow at our general council meeting, and if you could join us then, we'd love to visit with you on this topic. Since it's a stream meeting, I just don't want to talk about legal stuff online. Moving into the election board approval, thank you, Tyresha, for providing us this information. It looks like we have Clarissa Michelle Hoffman, who was drawn as a person to serve on the election board. Do we have a motion to approve this?
I'll move it.
We have a motion by Teresa. Do we have a second?
Support.
We have a second by Kenny. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0. That brings us to our tribal council item. And council, as you know, the Winnebago Tribal Council has made it a high priority to get our two relatives from Carlisle Indian School. And because the U.S. Army has not been open to following NAGPRA and the statutes that protect tribes, the Tribal Council has engaged in litigation in partnership with the Native American Rights Fund. And as you know, we lost our first decision, and so we're in appeal in the District Court of Virginia, and there's a hearing set in September for our what do you call that, the
Oral arguments.
our oral arguments, but it's our second I can't even think of the word.
Appeal here.
It's our appeal hearing. Thank you, Rona. It's our appeal hearing. And there's a delegation of tribal leaders that are going. There's also some next of kin that have been identified. And so there's discussion to have Thelma Whitewater and Charles Hinsley accompany the tribal leader delegation. So that's introducing the topic, and the floor is open for motions.
I'll make a motion to approve travel for the two direct descendants of our Carlisle relatives to travel with the tribal council and attend the federal court hearing on September 10th. Thelma Whitewater and Charles Hinsley.
We have a motion by Lorelei.
Out of tribal council travel.
Do we have a second?
Thelma Whitewater and Charles Hinsley.
No second.
Second by Eugene. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 6-0. Thank you, council. That brings us to our executive session. And thank you to those relatives that are willing to travel and lend their advice and their support. Moving into executive session, do we have a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Rona. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eugene. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0. We're entering executive session at 10:10 a.m. And I mean, it's the vote that's gonna, but if Coley wants to make the motion,
Yeah, I'll word it.
I'll make a motion to support the two board members for the 12 Plans Unity Hospital to call a special meeting to discuss the personnel issue.
we have a motion by Eugene. Do we have a second?
Is that your motion? Okay. I'll second that.
Second by Kenny. Discussion? Objection? So one objection. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye or signify.
Aye.
We've got Kenny, Lorelei, Coley, Eugene, and Teresa, abstain or opposed? Abstain. So we got motion carried 5-0-1. Thank you, council. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Or excuse me, is there any other business to consider before we adjourn?
I just have one question. Is the CFO, job description being advertised on the FOA?
No.
Can we do that?
Yes. I don't know if this job description has been approved, I guess. I haven't received a approved copy of this job description, but I will work on,
Our CFO,
It's on the website.
Is it on there now?
Yeah, it's on there now.
okay, well, that's a good update. It's on there now, and so we can use that to
Can
ask
you
our
get
HR
that?
department. Yep, we'll have
Okay,
them
good.
work on that.
good,
from
because
kind of-
man, there's good people in the FOA. Somebody might want to come here.
Yeah. We were advertising for the Boys and Girls Club CEO.
Yeah.
And we're getting doctors, lawyers that are applying because of the salary is not there. So they don't know. They see CEO. So, and we don't have any trial
Nobody
members right
local,
now.
no child members. Yeah, it's
One
one
tell
time.
them that.
And that one closes on the 26th for any child members, this
Oh,
CEO
yeah.
position, Boys and Girls Club. So you
Good,
got about another week to apply.
great.
I got a question on that. The other day, wasn't there a $10 million subtraction from that boys and
I'll
girls?
talk to you after this.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the deal with those Newmark tax credits. I'll talk to you after this.
Okay.
Do we
Motion
have-
adjourned.
We have a motion by Eugene to adjourn. Do we have a second?
So.
Second by Coley. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0-0. We're